So here we are at Ripsnorter, based in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands. So we are just about to enter this coffee shop. Alright, so we just arrived here at the Ripsnorter Cafe here in Rotterdam, and it's quite interesting cafe. I just entered it and I kind of love the design they have. I've ordered this coffee here, and I will show you guys some of their design, their interior design of this place, because it is kind of like going into a comic book in a way, and also the design of their coffee menus is kind of has that vibe, and I'll show you the menu as well. But yeah, we ordered the El Guaquil Peru washed geisha from La Copia Guiamarca, and it's a washed geisha that we ordered, that we will try. And this is a completely new roastery. I have basically no idea. I kind of just stumbled onto this place. So, but yeah, we will give it a go and smell this coffee first. Getting a lot of honey, like wildflower honey notes here. Maybe some rose. I see here that they have listed rose, tea, honey, and grandilla. These cups that they have reminds me a bit of like the way that people serve like Turkish coffee or Arabic coffee. It's similar cups, I feel. Oh wow, this one super interesting coffee. I'm very glad that I chose this one. So far, very getting a lot of honey, I'm getting a lot of grenadilla notes. So one thing that I find very interesting about this cafe in general and this roastery is that they also list what machine the coffee is roasted on, as you can see here. So this one is roasted on a Stronghold S7 Pro. And I asked them a little bit about whether this was an Omni roast or full roast. So they told me that it is an Omni roast that I'm drinking. So it works for both espresso and pour over. But yeah, so far incredibly aromatic coffee, very interesting. If you're talking roast profile, I would say this one leans more towards kind of a Nordic style approach, maybe not your ultra light roasted coffee. It's not, we're not talking about like still coffee roasters that we visited yesterday, for example. Certainly a bit darker than that, but maybe not as dark as a Matter of Concrete. So kind of reminds me of if you've ever had like swirl coffee from Sweden. The way they roast, more like in a classical Nordic style approach. The more it cools, the more I'm kind of picking up that vibrant grenadilla note, because I don't know if you guys have had a grenadilla, but it's similar to a passion fruit in a way. It's not as acidic as a passion fruit can be, or sour, or whatever word you want to use. It's much sweeter. It's more like if you were to have, it's kind of more like leans towards like vanilla sweetness. But it does have that passion fruit characteristic of that kind of bite and flavor profile, but much more sweeter. I'm thinking this one as espresso might be very interesting as well, maybe even more. It does work very well as a filter coffee. It's super tasty. I'm really enjoying it. But I do think if you pour this one as a 1-to-3 ratio, you might get more of that kind of roast tea flavors, the more florals. You might perhaps push those more out of the cup. and they use a ceramic V60 and the Seaburst B3 filters. So I find that very interesting. You don't find that too often in any cafe really, that they kind of display the brew method that they use for filter coffees and that they kind of give them to you. Man, this coffee is incredibly juicy, so good. More sweetness is coming through now, by the way, more of that roasty the more it cools, so that is very interesting. So it's super interesting. So this coffee that we have right in front of us right here, so one of the baristas came out and said this is a coffee that they really wanted us to try. It is a controlled fermentation yellow pacamara with notes of elderflower, rhubarb, compote, and milk chocolate. So it's from Huila, Colombia, and it's a natural and yeast inoculated anaerobic. So it's super interesting to try it out. And she did mention that they have two. So this one is as a ristretto style version of this same coffee, and this one is with distilled milk, freeze-dried milk, and the same coffee. So yeah, let's give those a try as well. We are gonna sample this other coffee that one of the baristas brought out to us as the coffee that we had to try. It's quite an interesting coffee. I've never had a coffee from Ripsnorter before from this farm, so it'll be super interesting. I'm already smelling the fermentation or the unique processing of this coffee, so let's give it a try. Let's start with the ristretto first. So on the nose, it's I'm picking up a lot of like elderflower juice or elderflower, yeah, like very sweet, like sweet elderflower juice. That is interesting. Oh wow. So I don't think I've ever had a ristretto pulled this way. It is super interesting and it is very tasty. It is very like, it reminds me of, so I grew up on elderflower juice, and this one reminds me so much of that. Like it's super sweet, and it does have some juiciness as well. It is a decent amount of body to it. But yeah, super sweet, and the elderflower note kind of lingers on and on. The rhubarb, I guess the rhubarb is probably the acidity. It is a bit sharp, but it's not like overly sharp or overbearing in any way. So it is, yeah, just a super interesting ristretto. I think it is their standard espresso recipe. I'm not fully sure, but I'll ask them before we head out. And then we have the other version. This is the one with the freeze distilled milk, I believe, and the same coffee. So it should be a similar experience, but maybe a bit softer or creamier. Oh wow. This one is tasting like it's very dessert-like. It's incredibly sweet. If the ristretto was sweet, this one is probably even like much sweeter than that. And obviously the milk does help, but it's so creamy and just very sweet and overall kind of mouth-watering in a way. It's not at all dry. It's not at all too sharp or bitter or anything like that. It's just like very velvety or buttery is words that I would use. But yeah, super interesting. And this coffee shop that we are at, Ripsnorter here in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, is turning out to be one of the biggest surprises of this trip, to be quite fair. I did not expect to find such high-level specialty coffee here. I mean, I've been to some pretty good cafes in Amsterdam. We went to Fuku, We went to DAC Coffee Roasters, DAC's showroom, and yeah, we've been to a few, but this one is definitely up there. It might even be one of my favorite shops in the Netherlands so far, just because of the interesting coffees we've had here. So if we go circle back to the geisha we had, the geisha from Peru, that was very like a clean, had beautiful notes of grenadilla and just an overall very nice experience. And then we transitioned into the espresso, which was more of the controlled fermentation yellow Pacamara, much louder cup, much more intense, but also much sweeter and kind of very dessert-like. And then to the milk-based version of that same espresso, with the same coffee, was really, yeah, it's kind of like I'm sipping on a dessert as I'm having it. So just overall sweet and enjoyable. So if we, so it's super interesting. I don't think you don't see this too often in cafes that offer kind of two versions of the same coffee that we have tried here. So one has ristretto and one has milk-based. Yeah, it's so interesting that these two coffees are like presented in a very unique way. It just goes to show that they put in a lot of work and effort into kind of then dialing them in and finding a unique recipe for the same coffee but different presentations. So I just read up a little bit about this place, and it seems that it's been around since 2018 from what I understand. And one of the owners who opened this place was competing in coffee, and I believe the Dutch won the Dutch championship in barista. I mean, overall, very nice experience. Highly recommend this place if you guys haven't been here already. And this Peruvian geisha has really opened up rose-like florals. Right, so we just came out of Ripsnorter. We just had 3 pretty amazing coffees there, and yeah, it's been pretty awesome. I really enjoyed that yellow Pacamara they served us. It was really something that I couldn't really pinpoint. I've had funky coffees before, I've had processed coffees before, but this one was just something else, especially the way the elderflower note was kind of presented, and yeah, just super enjoyable and such a unique thing to have like 2 coffees, like same coffee but with 2 different ways of like preparing that in a way. But yeah, highly recommend this place. So if you guys are in Rotterdam, I think this is a must place to visit. It's such a unique place. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you all soon.